Audi, while Rinaldo Capello in the second Audi had his hands full with Emanuele Naspetti in the first of the factory BMWs. Naspetti found a way around Capello, but when Ferrari moved up alongside Calciago, the Spaniard in the Opel Vectra was having none of it. Contact between the Opel and Ferrari's Alfa Romeo saw Calciago the loser in the confrontation. A terrific battle was going on for second and third between Fabrizio Giovanardi and Emanuele Pirro, with Emanuele Naspetti fourth in the BMW. Capello in the second Audi was back in front of Ferrari's Alfa in fifth, and Gianni Morbidelli in a second factory BMW had moved into sixth ahead of Calciago in the Opel Vectra. When Ferrari decided to mount another attack on the Capello Audi, he took Morbidelli with him. Ferrari managed to get past the Audi, but Capello held off Morbidelli and Calciago. The battle for 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th were both hectic and intriguing. It was one of attack and counter-attack, with plenty of physical contact. Capello was doing all he could to snatch back 5th place from Ferrari. When the aggressive Calciago attacked Morbidelli on the inside, there was contact between the two cars. Morbidelli was back in front of the Opel at the next corner, but all the physical contact hadn't done the Opel much good, and the Vectra's front suspension collapsed. Back in the Opel pit, a grim-faced team manager and technicians were awaiting the arrival of Calciago and the stricken Opel Vectra. Calciago drove straight into the garage. The car was soon up on its hydraulic jacks with technicians assessing the damage. Apart from the deranged suspension, the Opel was showing other battle scars. Calciago was still sitting in the car and demonstrating what had happened out on the circuit, but it was clear his race was over. The best the Opel team could hope for was to get the car ready for the next round. Back on the circuit, BMW teammates Gianni Morbidelli and Emanuele Naspetti decided that they'd had enough of the Audi Quattros. First, Morbidelli nudged Capello into a spin, with the Audi needing four-wheel drive to escape from the gravel trap. Then Naspetti came charging up on the inside of championship leader Emanuele Pirro and bumped his way past the Audi. The Audi pair must have wondered what hit them, but there were other problems for race leader Gabriele Tarquini in the factory Alfa Romeo. Tarquini was limping his way back to the pits with smoke pouring from the left front wheel. Worried-looking tyre engineers and pit crew were waiting in pit lane for Tarquini to appear, but he never made it. With everything set up for a quick tyre change, Tarquini, sporting the fashionable new look in hairstyles, arrived back in pit lane under his own steam after abandoning the Alfa out on the circuit. Tarquini, this year's Italian Super Touring Championship has produced little in the way of results. By contrast, it's been a season of frustration for the former British touring car champion. But by Italian standards, the impromptu post-mortem in pit lane was a remarkably calm affair. While Tarquini and Alfa team bosses pondered over more misfortune, Fabrizio Giovanardi was in complete control of matters out on the circuit and on his way to his first victory of the season. There was late drama for Oscar Ferrari. Under pressure from Antonio Tamburini and another Alfa entry, the Argentinian got himself all mixed up under braking and went off the circuit. The excursion dropped Ferrari from 5th to 6th, but with Giovanardi in an unassailable lead, a string of 4 straight 1-2s for the formidable Audi Quattro team was about to be broken. Much to the delight of Alfa Romeo fans, Fabrizio Giovanardi roared home to give the Italian manufacturer only their second win in the championship. Giovanardi was followed home by Emanuele Naspetti in the Works BMW and championship leader Emanuele Pirro in the first of the Audis. Once the checkered flag had dropped, the Alfa Corse team could set about trying to get Gabriele Tarquini's car back to the pits and ready for the second race. Technicians had to work alongside the track where Tarquini stopped in the first race before bringing the car back to the pits. While technicians went to work on Tarquini's car, Fabrizio Giovanardi was celebrating his first Italian Super Touring victory. Naspetti gave BMW their best result of the season, with Pirro cementing his championship lead. Audi Quattro stranglehold on the championship broken, the Alfa Romeo and BMW teams were looking forward to another good result in Heat 2. First race winner, Fabrizio Giovanardi, jumped into an immediate lead, but there was plenty of interest at the back of the field. Starting from the back of the grid, Gabriele Tarquini and the number 5 car set off on what was to be a dramatic charge through the field. Tarquini was soon mixing it with the backmarkers and was clearly intent on soon being up with the leaders. Up front, Giovanardi was trying to edge away from Piero Naspetti and Oscar Lerari, who made a great start to move ahead of Gianni Morbidelli and Rinaldo Capello in the second Audi Quattro. Close racing and physical contact in the Italian Championship is not restricted to the frontrunners. Mauro Trionni in a privately entered Alfa was locked in battle with fellow backmarker Paolo Della Piani, while Tarquini was still on his charge to the front. Tarquini was already up to 5th place and starting to put the pressure on Lerari. The back of Lerari's car also bore the scars of battle as he tried to hold off the flying Tarquini. For his troubles, Paolo Della Piani was called into pit lane for a 10-second stop-and-go penalty for his role in the bumping and boring incident with Mauro Trionni. Up front, Gabriele Tarquini picked up another place and moved into 4th. When the pressure from Tarquini got to be too much for him, Oscar Lerari sportingly waved Tarquini through on the inside. Tarquini was now up to 4th behind Emanuele Piro's Audi, Emanuele Naspetti in the factory BMW, and race leader Fabrizio Giovanardi. For Tarquini, catching championship leader Piro was one thing, but getting past him was another, with the forward-facing camera on Tarquini's Alfa providing some magnificent action footage. After having it all his own way for most of the season, Emanuele Piro was now locked in fierce battle with Gabriele Tarquini. The Audi driver was doing all he could to keep Tarquini at bay, and once again it was a case of attack and counter-attack. Oscar Lerari in 5th place had the best seat in the house as the battle raged on. It came as no surprise when Tarquini eventually forced his way through on the inside of the Audi. Tarquini was now up to 3rd, with Piro falling into the clutches of Oscar Lerari, Antonio Tamburini and Gianni Morbidelli. Tension was starting to grow in Tarquini's pit, and with Rinaldo Capello in the second Audi gradually dropping down the field with a mechanical problem, teammate Piro was also in trouble. The championship leader was starting to slow, and Lerari and Tamburini picked off the ailing Audi. Next to have a shot at moving ahead of championship leader Emanuele Piro was Gianni Morbidelli in the factory BMW. The in-car camera in the Rinaldo Capello Audi running behind the pair captured the action as the two cars made contact and Morbidelli spun off. It didn't take long for Gabriele Tarquini to move ahead of Emanuele Naspetti to move into 2nd. Tarquini's spectacular charge through the field was completed when he slipped through on the inside of Fabrizio Giovanardi to take the lead. The race order was now Tarquini ahead of Giovanardi, Lerari and Naspetti in the BMW. After a spin, Antonio Tamburini was also working his way back through the field. Tamburini had moved ahead of the Capello Audi, and he climbed up to 4th place when he went past Emanuele Piro's Audi. After winning all but 2 of the previous races in the championship, Mugello was not turning out to be a happy hunting ground for the Audis. At the back of the field, the action was far from over. Mauro Trionni and Paolo Della Piani tangled earlier in the race, with Della Piani slapped with a 10-second stop-go penalty. Storm to victory, with the Alfa team amply expressing their delight in the pits. Tarquini was followed home by Fabrizio Giovanardi, who had a good day, and Emanuele Naspetti in the BMW for his second trip to the podium at Mugello. Despite a 3rd and a 5th, championship leader Emanuele Piro in the Audi Quattro maintained his stranglehold on the championship, with Misano the next stop on the Italian Super Touring calendar.